All right. Hey, we are live. Man, you never know. It's like Russian roulette with StreamYard. Sometimes I hit the button and it takes 30 seconds for it to go live. Sometimes it goes live and I don't even know it's live. But this is when it went live and I knew it went live. So we're off to a great start right now. Hi, I am Brent Leary, and this is my first few good minutes of the week. And I'm wondering, is this going to be my last few good minutes for the year? Might have one or two after that, but hey, we'll see. But before we get into this few good minutes, because I'm really looking forward to talking with my guest, I do have a little housekeeping. And the first bit of housekeeping is tomorrow's show for the CRM players. It's going to be the last CRM players of 2024. And it just so happens to be the actual birth date, December 19th, his birthday, the venerable Paul Greenberg's birthday tomorrow. So what we're going to do for the whole show tomorrow, and I'm going to have to cut it off because as many people know and love him, I could be here for days doing this. But so we're going to do for the whole hour of the show, whoever wants to come on and wish Paul Greenberg a happy birthday tomorrow and to tell him how much you love him and how much you appreciate him and all that kind of stuff. Join us from 3 to 4. Leave a comment saying, hey, I want to say happy birthday to Paul. I will bring you on. You will get a minute or two. Going to have to be moving pretty fast because there's already lots of people in the queue that just want to come on and say happy birthday to him. It's a big birthday. It's his 75th birthday. So, you know, we have to do something special for him. So tomorrow, CRM players, 3 to 4, want to wish Paul Greenberg happy birthday. Leave a comment saying, hey, I want to do that, and then I will bring you on and let you do that. That's tomorrow. Now, got to put a little shout out for this too. Our very first CRM Players live event. We've been doing CRM Players for, I can't believe this, 15 years, and actually going to be 16 years while we do this event. We're doing our very first face-to-face live event. It's going to be here in Atlanta, January 21st and 22nd at Atlanta Tech Village in Buckhead. We're just getting this great lineup of people. It's going to be, we don't want it to be a traditional feeling kind of conference or event. So half of it is going to be a kind of, general track sessions. So we're trying to make these like real quick and snappy, but really fun and interesting and insightful and all that kind of stuff. But we're also going to be having like a live studio audience set up so that we're going to stream some of the PPN shows. So you take your choice. Go to the kind of the general track. Maybe go and check out some of be in the live studio audience for some of the shows. It's all about kind of our 15-year odyssey of doing, industry analysis in CRM and CX and sharing our opinions using this kind of forum, but also getting other people involved in some of the other shows that are on our PPN network. And just bringing a bunch of people that we really like to talk with and learn from and laugh with to join us in Atlanta for one good long day of, I like to call it conversational thought leadership, but it's also fun. And we're going to be streaming a whole bunch of stuff. So January 21st and 22nd. The 22nd is the full day. The 21st is more like a welcome reception, but the 22nd, Atlanta Tech Village here in Atlanta in Buckhead. Stay tuned for that. I can't wait for that. All right. So getting on with what we're here for today. I got this. I saw this headline. Let me pop this up. I saw this last week. So NFIB. I think I don't know what that stands. National Federation of Independent Business, something like that. Anyway, they do a regular small business optimism survey. I think they do it monthly or something like that. But the headline just caught my attention. Optimism jumps above 50-year average in November. I mean, to jump that much, 50 years, man, above the 50-year average. So I was wondering what the heck's what's going on here. So I took a look at the survey, and here's a couple of things that really stood out to me. Of the 10 Optimism Index components, I didn't know what. That's pretty lot of components there. But when 9 of the 10 of these optimism components increase from 1 month to the next, and none decrease, and one was unchanged, that's a lot of optimism. And then I guess that in addition to the optimism index, they do the uncertainty index. This is all new to me, by the way, but it's really interesting stuff. The uncertainty index dropped 12 points from 110 to 98 in November. So it kind of makes sense if the optimism kind of goes up, scores off the charts, and the uncertainty index decreases. That makes a lot of sense. But why is all that going on? So I had to take a little look at what the NFIB folks said, and they seem to have a correlation with those numbers in the election. So their chief economics or economist, I guess, Bill Dunkelberg, said the election results signal a major shift in economic policy, leading to a surge in optimism among small business owners. But look at that last part. You can read that if you want. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But that last little sentence there also got my attention. So you got all that optimism. In addition, small business owners are eager to expand their operations. Eager to expand their operations. So I was like, I mean, that's also interesting. And it kind of jives with something else that was recently put in front of me from the folks over at Sage. They are doing, it says SBSO. I think it's Small Business Big Opportunity. And this is from their recent study. And we're going to talk about that recent study with our guests. But just think about what was coming out of the NFIB study about all the optimism and kind of the less of the uncertainty, and that last bit about they are, small businesses really looking to expand and grow in the year ahead. Their survey also kind of jives with that. If you look at these numbers, 45% of the 12,000 small businesses that make up the survey, and we're going to get into the guts of that, almost 50% saying they think they had a significant annual revenue increase and a considerable rise from 32%. So that's a pretty significant 13-point rise year over year. But then the growth is expected to continue as 70% of SMBs anticipate further revenue gains over the next 6 months. So not only did they have a really good 2024, they're really expecting an even better 2025, which is kind of lining up with the NFIB. So that led me to really want to get in and dig into what's going on with what Sage is doing with their Small Business Big Opportunity report, which is why I'm really excited and happy to have joining me Mark Hickman, who is with Sage in their managing director for North American operations. Mark, thank you for joining me, man. This is great.
My pleasure, Brent.
So why don't you tell us a little bit, for those who may not be familiar, although I've known Sage forever, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Sage does and your role there at Sage?
Absolutely. So here at Sage, we provide software in the financial, payroll, and HR space to SMBs globally. Our largest market is here in the U.S., and we have offices all around the world. But in the U.S., predominantly is our fastest growth region and our largest revenue provider. My role here at Sage is to run North America. So I'm responsible. So I'm the managing director for North America. So Sage has been, as you say, known us for ages. We have been around for 40 years. But, we're really driving the next generation of technology, high-performance technology focused and driven by AI. So we're very excited about the opportunities in the SMB space.
And I'm here in the Atlanta metro area, and I know Sage has a pretty strong presence here as well.
Yep. Atlanta is our hub. It is our headquarters in North America. We're investing heavily in Atlanta. We have a very large office in the northeast of the city in Lawrenceville. And we have a space currently in Ponce City Market, but we're building a new space, 65,000 square feet. We'll have a whole floor for experience center for our customers and partners. So we're very, very excited about investing in the Atlanta community.
I'm definitely excited to check that out when that's all built up.
Be invited.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the SBSO report, Small Business Big Opportunity.
Yeah. So every year we run a report really testing the market and understanding how the sentiment of small businesses globally, small and medium businesses globally feeling. So this was a global report, obviously with a large chunk of it focused in our US market. And it kind of parlayed very nicely with the NFIB report, which you mentioned in the intro. As we heard in the NFIB report, it's actually a high over the last 3.5 years, the optimism level. So it's matching over average for the last 50 years, but it's hit its new peak after 3.5 years. When you think about it, we've been coming out of pandemics and various things, and now we're back to business. So that's exciting. So 85% of the NFIB respondents all feel very optimistic about their business as we move into next year. So in our study as well, what we discovered is, people are feeling that, 86% of people are feeling that conditions are going to be significantly better in 2025. Now, some of this is with the latest trends on election. People are feeling that regulations and taxes might improve in that environment as we move forward. But our study was done before the election, so obviously our results are based on the American economy as it was in October.
But your numbers are actually backed up by NFIB then. So your numbers came out first, and then theirs came out, and they're kind of jiving with each other, basically.
No, absolutely. I think that there's a lot of optimism in the market, right? 14% of small, medium businesses expect to invest heavily in the next year, right? And significant improvement in how people buy the economy. 36% expect the economy to improve significantly next year, which is an increase of 41% year over year. So there's a lot of optimism, as the NFIB report states, and all of our data really backs it up.
So before I took a look at the survey, and I got a couple of things I want to talk about or ask you about. But from your perspective, what things really jumped out beyond what you've already covered with us?
I think AI and the use of AI is something that, no big shocker, I think. But I think when we think of AI, we think of it in terms of ChatGPT. We think of it in terms of big enterprise companies using it. But now we're really seeing the small and medium business area really start to drive AI. U.S. adoption is higher than the global adoption, is what we saw in our survey. U.S. leading the way at 55% as opposed to 48% for the rest of the world. So we're seeing significant adoption in small, medium businesses here in the U.S., and we expect that to continue.
I'm going to pop up. I already popped up the one that you mentioned in terms of confidence level, but I want to also check out the revenue growth accelerates. That's from 32 to 47. So that's almost a 50% increase from that perspective. What more can you tell us about that number?
Yeah, I think that what people are seeing in the market is the market's expanding, right? The economy's starting to grow again. Interest rates are falling into line. Inflation has dropped. And as is always the case, I think in the U.S. market, businesses grow, right? And it's driven by that economic growth. So we're also seeing, job creation start to increase significantly as well. It's up to 34% in 2024, which is up 13% over 2023. And 60% next year of small and medium businesses expect their job creation to increase, right? And they're going to increase more jobs, right? And when you think about small and medium business really being the core of any economy, that's really good news for the economy here in the U.S.
It was so interesting to see kind of the lockstep growth with revenue growth was about up 50% year over year.
Yeah.
And workforce expansion is pretty close to being up 50% year over year. So it seems like it's not just the revenues are growing and where it's all due to like automation.
Yeah.
I'm sure a good percentage of it is, but they're also expanding with humans.
Exactly. Yeah, which is obviously a really good sign for the health of an economy.
One more, and I think you mentioned this around the AI thing, and I think this is one that was. Let me go to. Well, I'll start with this tech as a driver. Overall, it seems like tech is something that they're definitely investing heavily in, and depending on for driving that growth.
Yeah. I mean, what we've seen with AI and how it's really helping all of the small and medium businesses grow is what we saw in our survey was 49% saw back office improvements using AI. 31% said that they saw cost savings, which is something we would expect with AI. 42% said that the customer experience for their business was improving, and they attributed 29% of their revenue growth as well. So it was right across the board. We're starting to see AI intricate into these businesses, and they're starting to use it as more and more tools become available. So obviously here at Sage, we're heavily invested in AI. I do believe you were at Transform in February in Vegas, and did a couple of interviews with some of our leaders. I think at Transform, what we talked about was Copilot, which is great Copilot, and how we can help the adoption of AI in small and medium business, right, and really start to drive productivity to that next level. So we launched it at Transform, and now we're bringing that to market in the next few months. So we're very, very excited about being able to bring Copilot to our customer base and net new customers as well, right? And what we're seeing is in small and medium business, as our report stated, is as much as AI is being used, there is a skill gap in the small and medium business in terms of training and enabling people to use AI ML, right? Because they don't have the skills and the training as would be on the enterprise side, right? So filling that skills gap is something that a Copilot, for instance, that we're bringing to market, right? To really facilitate accountants to use our technology better, faster, quicker. First launch of Copilot be really centered around the close, right? And how we're going to close that gap on the close and save them time during the close. For those of us that spend time in finance and accounting, we all know the close is the painful part of everything. So being able to reduce that time on the close and get it to fruition quicker is something we're very, very excited about with a tool like Copilot.
I'm going to pop up that number for the AI adoption, because I did have a question. It did go up, but it didn't go up as dramatically as some of those other numbers that we just went through. Do you think that that's partially because there's still a kind of a cloud, particularly at the small business level, around what AI is and what it could do for them? And once they kind of get a better handle on that, then you'll see these numbers rise as quickly as some of the other numbers we've seen?
I absolutely think that. I think, as we were mentioning before, right, we've got significant job creation in the market, and people, coming to work for small and medium businesses that might not be enabled on AI ML and being able to use the tools, right? So that's why organizations like ourselves here at Sage are trying to put tools into our tools to enable people to use AI and be effective with AI, but use it in a very simple way, right? Typing in basic commands that will produce results. What's my cash flow going to be in the next 6 months? Boom. Well, there it is, right? And a nice little graph print, and send that report over to your boss, right? So these are the kind of things that I think as we move forward, organizations and software companies need to invest in, right, to facilitate that in the small and medium business. Everybody's usually always focused on the enterprise, right?
Yep.
But focusing on that small and medium business is critical to success. So filling that skills gap, I think will accelerate that, to your point, even more.
One of the things that I've been wondering and interested in small businesses is that I think you have a global footprint for this survey. Or how do they differ from different parts of the country or the world, so to speak? Where are there certain countries or certain regions that are ahead in things like AI versus others? Or what about how are there any kind of material differences in how other regions are saying their growing is going to happen versus some other regions? Can you kind of give us a big picture of, this is the big number, but over here it's a little different, or over there it's way better?
Yeah, no, I think definitely the US is leading the charge. I think after the last couple of years coming out of the pandemic into high inflation, high interest rates, and then really trying to address that, I think the US has done a great job, and the economy, as we've seen from these numbers we just discussed, is back on track. I think the recovery is probably a little bit slower in other areas. In the US, as I mentioned, the adoption of AI is always first. They're definitely the leader in that. That's what we've seen across the board in every survey we've done and when we talk to our customers. However, the Europeans are ahead in e-invoicing, for instance, right, which is the ability to file invoices directly into the government, right, for taxation, et cetera, right? So you're seeing the adoption of e-invoicing right across Europe being driven by the EU, which I think is something that we'll also start to see more and more of in North America as well, right? So yeah, in different areas, you're seeing different things. But I would say definitely the U.S. in terms of the growth and the speed of the economic recovery and also the adoption of technology. I think the U.S. has always been at the forefront of that and are definitely leading the way in AI.
Here in the States, are you surprised at how the election has impacted small business optimism? It seems like it was a dramatic punch up. And I'm kind of surprised at it, but what are your thoughts around that?
I think that it was pretty high before. I don't think it was as much of a jump, but I think that the election, as I was touching on before, really people are optimistic, as it showed in the NFIB study, really around two things, right? About taxes and about regulations, right? So in our study, when we talked about government assistance to small businesses, what we discovered is that about 48% of small businesses were interested in tax relief, right, as being a key component to growth. And then access to capital for about 42% of them was a key metric. And then finally, improvement in digital infrastructure, which is really along the lines of that e-invoicing and the government providing tools to facilitate the way they collect the taxes, et cetera, to make lives easier for small and medium businesses. But yeah, I think optimism was high before, and it is significantly higher now. But I think that is where we're at as an economy too, right? I mean, the economic indicators are all pointing in the right direction. So the election kind of happened at a time when I think things were definitely trending, and they're only going to trend forward.
When you think about kind of the general AI conversation or discussion, a lot of it, of course, is around all the kind of potential it has.
Yeah.
And that has given a certain level of excitement, even at the small business level. They're like, if this could help me, grow and reduce costs, I'm all for it. But there's also the apprehension of, is it going to take my job? How are you seeing small business grapple with that kind of that question?
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's something that comes up a lot. I think that when most people think about AI, they think about ChatGPT. It's the thing that's most prevalent. Everybody knows about it. Everybody uses it. Our kids are writing papers with it now. They shouldn't, but they still do. But I think that one of the best things I heard on this is that you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody who knows how to use AI better than you. Right. And I think, as we're seeing with this job growth numbers that we're seeing here in the economy, right, and what we're seeing in small and medium business, right, and then we were talking about the skill gap that we're seeing in small and medium business, right. You need to embrace AI, right. You need to learn how to use ChatGPT and Copilot in Microsoft and, and tools like that we're bringing to market with Copilot. These are not difficult things to learn how to use, right. And I think investing that time and making yourself more comfortable with AI is something that will serve everybody well. But I don't think everybody's been really worried about AI. AI will take away some jobs, right? I mean, but the internet took away jobs, and like software in general takes away jobs and makes people more efficient, more productive. That's really not a new thing. But I think people really felt like AI was going to take over the world at some point, and there was a lot of I think we watched too many Hollywood movies. But when we think of AI in our specific space, we're talking about driving efficiencies. We're talking about allowing people to make more strategic decisions, right? We're talking about catching anomalies in the numbers, right? So that you're not filing numbers that are wrong, right? That kind of stuff. We're talking about being able to produce reports better, faster, quicker. We're talking about taking away those highly labor-intensive tasks, right, and enabling people to do things better and quicker, and then being, once you're able to do that, you become significantly more strategic in what you do, right? So I think AI is definitely, I think we're also in its infancy, right, Brent? I mean, I always use the analogy, and everybody can see I wasn't born yesterday. When the internet first came out, remember when you used to dial in and the modem made that noise? Yes. We're at that stage of AI, and now we walk down the street with an iPhone, right, and we're able to do anything. So we're in the infancy of it. at Sage, we've been very, very focused on it for like the last 7 or 8 years. We have 20 PhDs on staff. Like, we are very focused in enabling our customers with AI, right, and driving that value into our technology. So I think it's something that organizations like ourselves have to invest in, have to focus on, to make our products better, to make small businesses more productive.
It's funny because I just ordered a new MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
And they say, wow, I'm starting to hear a bit of background noise, but they're saying all of a sudden, I can, with this new MacBook Pro, I can do machine learning and language and have large language models, actually crunching on a MacBook, a laptop, which is just incredible that we've gotten to this point.
Yeah, it really is, right? I mean, where we've come so quickly, over like 20-year period, I can imagine 20 years from now where AI will be, right?
Yeah. So we can't talk about 20 years from now, but we can talk about 2025. Yeah. So we're at the end of 2024. We're getting ready to enter a new year. Where do you see small business, in particular, with their use of AI? Do you think next year is going to be a year that they do understand it better, understand what it can do for them better, and embrace it at a maybe an accelerated rate than they did over the last year?
No, I think absolutely. When we take a look at the U.S. market in our survey, what we found was 64% have already invested in AI tools, right? 34% of them in multiple tools, and 30% only in one, right? Mm-hmm. So I think as we move into 2025, there's a lot of room for growth there in people that are just using one tool at the moment, right? They're going to see the value it's delivering, right? I'm going to want to do more. So what we're seeing is 74% of small businesses, right, that use AI see it as a core need now to their business, right? And that's a massive shift, right? So when you're seeing that kind of value being driven out of a technology, right, you're going to find other ways to use it. I mean, we all do this in our personal lives, right? When we find AI that generates something better, faster, quicker, we're always going to go use it, right? So I think we're going to start to see that in 2025 more. And I'm sure if we, when we do our next survey, we will see even more AI adoption right across SMBs.
Is there anything else that has kind of captured the attention from a tech? I know, mobile phones decades ago, and maybe I guess emails too, but it feels like there's something different about what's going on with AI than even some of those other disruptive technologies. Do you feel that, or am I just kind of imagining things here?
No, I think you're bang on. I think the only thing that could probably come close, but I don't think it would be the internet.
Yeah.
Right. That level of access to information, the access now to process that information and those quantities of data in seconds is something that is going to be that power, right? And the ability to learn, which was never there before, right? One query and done. Now it's going to be able to learn from those queries, right? So yeah, I think it's, people have likened it, to electricity and various things, but closest thing I think for most of us to relate to is probably the internet. But AI will be an absolute game changer with what it's going to be able to do. Autonomous cars, all those day-to-day things that will change as well, right? It won't just be business things.
And with you being at Sage, and the AI discussion is usually around things like marketing or content generation, summarization, which are all great things. And but I'm just curious, what are some of the things you would like small business to know about what you guys do with your AI and how that can impact them the most?
No, absolutely. We have, as I mentioned before, have been one of the pioneers in this, and we are the leader in our space in terms of AI adoption. So when we think about small businesses and we think about AP automation, right? So AP automation is the ability, to pay bills. So for instance, in comes my bill from Verizon, right? It's an email. Automatically scans that bill for me because it knows exactly what a Verizon bill looks like, right? Takes that information, puts it into the general ledger for me, right? And then automatically knows when it's supposed to be paid, right? And it can take that information, go out to the bank account, come back and pay that bill and enter that into the general ledger. And guess what? I haven't touched it yet, right? So, I mean, that's the power of the things that we can do. And then other things are, for instance, having anomalies in your accounting data when you're trying to close your books or you're trying to be audited, right? Being able to flag those anomalies, right? to an accountant so they know that, this doesn't make sense, right? Instead of somebody having to go look through, thousands of lines of numbers trying to figure out where that number is not adding up. And then, as I was mentioning, our biggest thing, which you're familiar with as you are Transform, is Copilot, right? Which for us is, not focused on trying to do everything that isn't accounting related, but really focus in on what we believe are the tasks that are going to transform the accounting industry, starting with the close, which is obviously the biggest obstacle to everybody's existence if you're an accountant, right? Every month you got to close those books, right? Then you got to close the year, and then you're going to get audited. So it's like anything we can do to facilitate that. And obviously, as we continue down that road of adding functionality to Copilot in a very iterative fashion, we'll be putting more and more technology into it. So very, very exciting. And then being able to integrate it into other areas, HR, payroll. So, small businesses will be able to do a myriad of different things seamlessly from one interface on Copilot across their platform. So that's what we're looking to bring to market, and we're very, very excited about.
I actually remember talking to Steve Hare, and he was very excited about Copilot. He even went back to his actual accounting days, and I asked him, put your accounting hat on and tell me how would Copilot impact you, and he went right there. It was just really good to see that. And also he taught me a whole lot about rugby that I had absolutely no idea.
Steve's a big rugby guy.
So Mark, this has been great. Where can people go to learn more about the survey and even get the study?
www.sage.com, and look for the Sage Big Business, Big Opportunity. And if anybody wants to reach out on the website and talk to us about it, we'd be more than happy.
Awesome. So Mark, has been a great conversation. I always end a few good minutes with new guests that I haven't had before. I have to ask them a certain question, and regardless of how good this conversation has been, if you answer this wrong, I will probably never speak to you again. So I don't know if that's any pressure, but so I have to ask, do you have a favorite NFL team?
I do.
Okay. So who is it?
The San Francisco 49ers.
Now, you would think that would be the one that I would say I'll never speak to you again. But no, I'm okay with the Niners. I mean, especially after last week, I'm definitely okay with the Niners.
I noticed the hat. I became a Niners fan when I first arrived from England. The Niners won the Super Bowl that year. And I, just like Steve, an English lad from the north of England, and didn't really know much about NFL football. So that was Joe Montana and those. So it's been a few years now, Brent. So I haven't jumped off any bandwagons, and we're not having a great season, but I am a Niners fan. But I've always been partial to your Rams.
Okay. You know what? You didn't even have to add that, because the Niners are perfectly fine with me. It was a rough patch in the 80s for me. We lost 18 in a row, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, but no, if you had said you were a New England Patriots fan, it might have been tough because they beat us in 2 Super Bowls. So I'm not over that. But I have to tell you, I had no idea. Based on your accent, I had no idea you were from London.
No, I moved here a long time ago. So it was I came here when I was like 12. So it's been a while. So I've lost the accent. But I'm definitely a North American now. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mark, thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you and your family have a great holiday season, and look forward to speaking with you in the future, and maybe getting a chance to check out the new digs when they get put up.
Absolutely. That'll be one of my first invitations, and all the best to you and yours. Cheers.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody that spent a few good minutes with us. And remember, tomorrow, Paul Greenberg, happy birthday salute, 3 to 4 p.m. If you want to get in on it, leave a comment. Until then, I will talk to you later.